Last time, we said some souls refused the ferry. This is the account of one who came back. A magistrate has not slept in 7 nights. Every night, a woman stands at the foot of his bed. Her robe is white, the white of a funeral. Her hair is loose and wet, and water drips onto his floor, though it has not rained in a month. She does not scream, does not reach for him. She only stands, looks, and says nothing. And that silence terrifies him more than any scream, because he senses she is waiting for the one question no one asked while she was alive. You know her. Every culture in East Asia keeps a record of her. In Korea she is the Wonhun, the soul of grievance, or the Kyanyo Guizin, the maiden ghost. In China she is the Yuan Gui, the ghost of injustice. In Japan she is the Onryo, the vengeful spirit. Different scripts, different centuries, yet the portrait is identical, a woman, in white burial clothes, hair unbound, at the edge of the living world. Folklorists note this is one of the most stable images in East Asian storytelling. So the question is not why she is frightening. It is why she is always her.
What the records show is stranger than the ghost herself. This spirit almost never kills at random. She appears to one specific person, a judge, an official, a man of authority, with a purpose so precise it reads less like a haunting than a summons. She has a case to make, and has been trying to make it for a very long time. Hold on to that word, case. Because to understand the woman in white, you cannot start in a graveyard. You start in a courtroom.
Begin in China, in the 14th century, with a play whose title became a proverb, The Injustice to Do-yi, by Guan Hanqing. Do-yi is a young widow, framed for murder by a man she refused. A corrupt magistrate tortures her, to spare her mother-in-law. She confesses, and is condemned. At the execution ground she makes 3 impossible vows: her blood will fly upward onto a white banner, snow will fall in midsummer, drought will grip the land 3 years. All 3 come true. Then the shape that repeats across every border, she returns not to slaughter, but to appear before an honest official and clear her name. The Chinese phrase for a miscarriage of justice still translates, literally, as snow in June. Now Korea, and the legend of Orang. She was a magistrate's daughter in Miryang, assaulted and murdered by a servant. Her father, believing she had run off in disgrace, resigned in shame. Every new magistrate who arrived met a woman in white at night, and each one, terrified, died of fright or fled by morning. The town assumed she was a demon killing officials. She was not. She was waiting for one who would not run. At last a man named Yi Sangsa held still and asked what she wanted. He found her killer, and only then, her account finally heard, did she rest. Koreans have a word for what fills such a soul, han, the ache of a wrong never set right. Orang haunted Miryang not to punish it, but because every man sent to hear her looked away.
So far the pattern is almost gentle, the ghost waits, is heard, rests. Japan breaks it. What happens when no honest official ever comes? Meet Oiwa, from the kabuki play Yotsuya Kaiden, first staged in 1825, drawn from real people. Oiwa is poisoned by rivals, her face disfigured, betrayed and dead at her own husband's hand. There is no reopened case. No magistrate. And so the wrong does not dissolve, it hardens into her power. Here is the reversal. The Onryo grows stronger in exact proportion to how righteous her grievance is. The more undeniable the injustice, the more unstoppable the ghost. Guilt, here, is not metaphor, it is fuel. Oiwa is so feared that even today actors visit her grave to ask permission before staging her story.
Once you see the shape, you find her everywhere. Okiku, a maidservant in Bancho Sarayashiki, refused her master, was framed for breaking a precious plate, and thrown down a well. Each night she rises to count, 1, 2, 3, up to 9, then wails for the 10th that is missing. Do-yi, Orang, Okiku, Oiwa, a widow, a daughter, a maid, a wife. Across 3 cultures and 5 centuries, the accused change, but the accusation does not. She was powerless, silenced, called a liar or a thief to bury what was done to her. The haunting is not the crime. The haunting is the correction.
Who were these ghosts, before they were ghosts? The living women underneath the legends are almost never queens or generals. They are servants, widows, unmarried daughters, people with the least power to be believed. A maid's word could not outweigh a samurai's. Their truth had no legal standing, no witness, no appeal. And this is what the folklore grasped long before we had the language. The woman in white is what testimony looks like when the one giving it was never allowed to be heard. The dripping water, the white robe, the loose hair that is not decoration. That is the evidence she was buried with.
Now widen the lens. Why did this exact silhouette cross every border in the region? What traveled was the silhouette of unheard grievance. When the living record has a hole in it, a culture files the missing testimony where it cannot be deleted, in the ghost story. The woman in white is how a society keeps a receipt for a debt it refused to pay. Which brings us to the reveal this account has circled. We kept asking what she is, we had it backwards. She is not a thing that happens to you, she is a mirror, held up to those who let the wrong stand. The magistrate cannot sleep not because a demon chose him, but because he is the institution that failed her, and the haunting is his society's own guilt returned to his bedside. Which makes the vengeful ghost of East Asia something we have no better word for, the oldest whistleblower on record. With no court to hear her, no press, no protection, the only way a powerless victim could accuse the powerful was to refuse to stay dead. The haunting was her testimony. Coming back was the only subpoena she could sign.
And here is why she has not aged a day. When Japanese horror conquered the world, Ringu's girl crawling from the well, Juoen's woman on the stairs, the world felt a dread it could not place. When Korean horror sends its long-haired figure in white down a hallway, viewers who have never heard the word wonhun still shiver in recognition. Some part of us understands what she is, a wrong that was never answered, still waiting in the room. Every culture has silenced someone who deserved to be heard. She is the most honest image anyone ever made of what that silence costs. She never wanted to kill you. She wanted the one thing she was denied in life, for someone, finally, to listen. So when the woman in white appears, dripping and silent, remember what the records say. She is not there to end you. She is there to finish a sentence the living cut short. But not every spirit that crosses into our world arrives with a grievance. Some arrive as strangers, feared as foreign demons, hideous and horned, and are quietly taken in over the centuries, until the monster at the door becomes the neighbor you leave rice wine for. Next, we open the account of the Dokibi, the outsider who was never let in, and somehow became beloved anyway. Until then, the lantern stays lit.